In this lush, verdant landscape of Assam, where the mighty Brahmaputra is telling its serpentine tale, there is another story that is unfurling, the one of sports and one of badminton. It is a story that has grown from a nation stage, nurtured by passion and persistence, into the testament of this state's sporting spirit. I'm talking about Assam Senior Badminton. So today I have with me is a souvenir of the Assam Senior Badminton Club. Look at that. And what's so special about this souvenir? This souvenir has some tremendous write ups written by all those ex players who have represented the state of Assam in national events and went on to represent the country in the realm of badminton. They have come to share their knowledge on badminton, whatever they have learned over the years, and that's why these write-ups has such value and information in them. Now that the sport is growing in our state, we should know more from their knowledge, more from their stories, so that the learning curve becomes much more smaller. So the first write-up is always the special one because it is written by Krishna Hazarika Rao. She has represented both the state of Assam and the state of Delhi, and her story is something that every girl should read and know of. She writes almost a mini memoir of her life here in this write up. She stated everything with such honesty and courage. Her story goes like this: she was an excellent student and a better badminton player. By the time she was ready to go for college, she already had a job, and she thought, why would she have to go to get a degree because she already has a job, and she wanted to concentrate on playing badminton. And such was the self confidence of that girl. And later on in life, when she was an officer and she chose to do that MBA from prestigious FMS Delhi, and how hard she fought for the degree. That story tells so much about the person, the feistiness that has in her, how to have that dogged determination of getting what you want and getting the things done. And that is very, very, very rare to find. That is why it is very important to know her story, and how her story is a lesson for every girl who is planning to take up this sport or has already taken up the sport and is also continuing her studies. So this was about Krishna Hazarika Rao ma'am. And the second write-up is by someone that was a household name back in the 90s, and that name is Dipankar Bhattacharya. Three-time national champion, two-time Olympian. He was always in the back pages of Assam Tribune when we were growing up. In his write-ups, he says something very, very important. He said that it is very important to manage the expectation not only of the student of the game, that is the player, but also the parents who were harping on their own ambition to the child. And it is very important to know how to manage the expectations. This write-up is worth in absolute gold. Next write-up is by Madhurya Borua, a former player who stressed that the senior players have still that much of knowledge and insights on the game that they have learned over the years, and that experience at the court can never be replaced by a computer. And it is such a profound advice. Sometimes these days we are over reliant on computers and in strategy making, but we kind of ignore how our senior players have that knowledge, how to fight on every point and how to have that edge in the court while you're fighting for that point. Very, very good writer that stresses the importance of the experience and the knowledge that the senior players still have to offer to the current crop. So the next write-up is by someone who is a gold medalist at SF Games in 2006. She represented the state of Assam for 18 years. That speaks about her longevity, that speaks about her mental fortitude, to be at the court and keep fighting. She has also ranked India's number one in women's doubles. She is someone who is a contemporary of Saina Nehwal, Apurna Popat, Jwala Gupta, the household names. She is someone who can contribute and have contributed, and most importantly, given back to the game. Back in 2015, she was selected as a coach and she helped India get 1 gold and 2 bronze medals. And talk about such an achiever. She is such a great role model for the upcoming players. And the next write-up is by Dr. Shailaja Kaul, who is the center head of the Assam High Performance Center. And she has stated that this center is instrumental in helping players in strength building, conditioning, and rehabilitation. And in addition to that, there are sports psychologists that help players on focus, on how to do stress management. And the next write-up is by Pradeep Saliha, who stresses the importance of organizing badminton events and tournaments and advocated that the current system should be overhauled by the ranking system so that we get in line with the Badminton Association of India's ranking system, and it will help the players in better state. And the next write-up is by Bishwajit Ghosh. He talks about transition from junior level to senior level. We in Assam or in India at large, we talked a lot about the possibilities of upcoming players at the junior level, but somehow these players fail to make the transition, because he says in his write-up that it is akin to shifting from a pond to the sea. The transition gap is such a huge leap. He identified that this failure to transition to the next level is due to the lack of exposure, due to lack of financial resources, because if you do not have deep pockets, you cannot go outside and compete in those tournaments that will eventually give you ranking points, and thereby you will have more experience. So it is very important for the government or other agencies to fund these junior players so that they can have the much needed exposure, and then the transitioning itself will not be an issue. And next write-up is by Shivashish Thakur. He talks about how badminton is going green because there are ethical and environmental concerns about how feathers were extracted from ducks and geese, and how it is very painful for those birds, and we cannot remain aloof to the pain that we are causing in the name of sport. At the same time, these new technologies is involving nylon shuttlecocks. The main question about them is whether they would stand the test of time and whether they could hold a shuttle for a much longer period without bringing in changes about how the game is played. So I found these write-ups very informative, very educational, because I am not someone who is very knowledgeable about the game of badminton and the little intricacies about it. I am someone who watches badminton when there are major tournaments. I am someone who just follows the sport when it is featured in Olympic events or in world championships where marquee Indian players are participating. For someone like me, it is a treasure trove of knowledge, this souvenir, that have such information that gave me deep understanding about the game, how it is played, and how we as the watchers of the game should know finer details of the game. Lastly, Manas Pratim Sharma has profiled many masters badminton players like Arup Buragohai, Sumitra Pujari, Poran Hazarika, YT Singh, Manali Sinha, Madhusmita Barua, Bijen Burman, etc. And special mention to Manas Pratim Sharma, who is a news editor at Akashvani Guwahati, Sri Shivashish Thakur, associated with the Assam Tribune, and Sri Vishnu Deka Sir, Senior FA at the Government of Assam, who has brilliantly curated this entire souvenir and making it such a wholesome experience to read and know about the game of badminton, which is a very profound way to profess your love for the game. I'd like to thank Sri Vishnu Deka Sir, who was the organizing secretary of that event, for giving me this opportunity, which I will hold dear to my heart. Thank you so much.